Hello, friends. Welcome to the Career Guru podcast. I am your host, Steve Yanovsky. What a glorious day it is to start your path in a new career. Doors are opening here at the Boston Career Institute even as we speak. And I'm here holding the key for you. So tune in, stay sharp, and enjoy yourself. This is going to be great. Hashtag Let's Career Up.
Good day, my friends. It's good to be with you once again. I am Steve Yanovsky, your career guru, your personal guide in times of tumult, murkiness, confusion in all things related to your career, of course. Today, I'd like to do a third installment of our Learning to Learn series. And today I'd like to focus on note-taking as far as learning how to learn is concerned, because there's almost nothing more important than taking good notes. This is where people falter mostly when they go back to school, because they have no idea what to do with the notes. They try to write everything down and then try to figure out what it is that they wrote. And that just simply doesn't work. So without further delay, let's talk about learning to learn, the note-taking edition. There are 8, count them, 8 things you need to keep in mind when taking effective notes. Number 1, you'll find completely and totally funny, but number 1 is taking good notes. Now, I'll come back. We're going to address every single one of these points. What do you mean, Guru, taking good notes? I'll explain. Hold your horses. Everything is good. Number 2. After number 1 comes number 2. Number 1 was take good notes. Number 2, organize your notes. Number 3, format your notes and label them. Number 4, listen to main ideas during the lecture. By the way, that applies to also reading a book. Number 5, find vocabulary words. I'll explain what that means. Number 6, use abbreviations and draw pictures. Number 7, condense your notes. Number 8, use a note-taking system, whatever that means. So these are 8 points to taking effective notes. And like I said, notes are essential for proper learning. So let's start our discussion on what it actually means. So the first topic that we talked about was taking good notes. What does that mean? What does it mean to take good notes? That means writing down your notes clearly in such a way that you can actually read them. You actually have to take time and trouble to sit and write things down cleanly in such a way that you'll be able to read your notes later. I know in a moment of inspiration you apply that chicken scratch routine, but no, that's not how it works. You need to train your mind and your manual dexterity, meaning your ability to move your hands in such a way to take good, clean notes. It's an effort. It cannot be chicken scratch. It has to be an effort. See, engagement of your auditory senses, meaning your hearing senses, and your ability to coordinate your pen, that you process what you are hearing and applying pen to paper in such a way that is careful, clean, and precise. Now, that is a very neat psychological trick. See, combining what you're hearing and understanding is important. Now, that is important. You must understand what is being said to you. If you don't, you're not going to be able to take any notes whatsoever, because what are you writing? What are you scribbling? It just doesn't work. So first you listen to the speaker's idea, which we address later on. Then you understand it, and you begin to write those main points down in clean, good-looking penmanship. If you have awful penmanship like I do, it takes extra effort to write cleanly into your notebook. And one thing I should start it with is to make sure you have a notebook, not loose leaf papers. It doesn't work. Loose leaf papers, unless you're so organized that you can put them in a binder in a proper sequence, they just don't work. You need to have a good spiral-bound notebook. And you have to gauge what size notebook you're going to have. You don't want to run out of paper. And you also have to be economical with the paper. Make sure to write on both sides. Don't waste the paper. take careful double-sided notes. Okay? So make sure you have that before you start taking these notes. But listening and understanding the speaker's main ideas or the chapters in the book main ideas is key. So whether you're listening to a teacher, whether you are taking notes from a chapter that you're reading, you still take notes. And these notes must reflect the most important ideas written in a clean, clear application of the pen, and I didn't say pencil, pen to paper. Take your time to read and take your time to understand and write things down cleanly. I know it's an effort for some of us who don't really know how to do that well, but when you're taking notes, you have to show respect to the idea and the topic that you're learning by writing cleanly. It'll help you in general. It's good to have good penmanship, and it's never too late to develop it. So your motor skills, fine motor skills that you apply to taking notes are key. Okay, that's what it means to taking good notes. They are clean, and you don't have to scribble everything, just the main ideas. And we'll come back to it. But Steve, Guru, what are you telling us? How do we know what's important, what's not? I'll come back to that. The second point was organizing your notes. And like I said, even though, point number one to taking good notes and point number two are somewhat, the order is a moot point here. Okay, but having a binder and a notebook is perfect to organize your notes. And it's not just organizing your notes as far as having a place where you're writing them down. No, it's also making sure that your notes are being done in a specific sequence following an assigned order. And that is something that you need to go back and organize once you're done taking the notes. See, taking notes is not a one-time thing, and we'll come back to that further. Third point to taking good notes, and that is formatting your notes. What does it mean to format your notes? Well, before you format your notes, you must format your mind. So your mind is a receptacle for information. If information is coming to you live, it's one thing. If information is coming to you via a book that you are reading, that you still must take notes. You see, reading a book and trying to extract good information from that book, from the chapter that you're reading, from the assignment, requires you to take notes. See, reading must not be a passive experience. Neither is sitting in a class. They're active experience. It's active reading, it's active listening, and you're applying pen to paper, and you are taking out the most important things in there. And those things must be in a specific format or order. First, you organize your mind. So you see all of these things. Point number one, taking good notes, organizing your notes, and format your notes. They're all kind of one. They could just be one, but we break them down into these 3 points. But first things first, format your mind. What are you going to format your mind with? Well, it's like creating vessels into which, it's like in your kitchen, you have a rack of spices. You're not going to pour pepper into a shaker that says salt on it. No, pepper goes into pepper. Salt goes into salt. Parsley into parsley. See, it's not a mess. Notes are the same thing. And how do you format your mind to listen to information that's being presented to you? First is the subject. Then comes the topic. And after that, they come key terms. Of course, each note that you're taking must include a date when these notes were taken, just for your own reference later on. When I was a child, I went to a very specialized school, and they made us write a date on every page. They don't do that anymore in schools, so people walk out not having this particular skill. But in our notebooks, we had a day and a topic for that day's discussion, or multiple topics. And within those topics, within those outlines, came in key terms that you filled in as you went on. So you first build that skeleton, you first build that framework of your notes, into which, and in your mind. So your mind must match your notes. If your mind is chaos, your notes are going to be chaos. You're not going to find anything in your notes. You must organize and format your mind. So do that first. Subject, topic, key terms, vocabulary is that we call that, okay? But terms. And for that, you need to organize your page in the same way as you just organized your mind. What subject is the speaker going to be talking about? Or what is the subject of the book? What is the subject of this chapter? What are the topics associated with that subject matter? And what are the key terms that are going to be used in this lecture or in that book? You see, this is how it works. So once you organize your mind, you have created these vessels, these receptacles into which the information is going to enter in an orderly and a cogent manner so you can retrieve it later. But again, we take notes for the purpose of being able to recreate the information that you once heard. Why did I start our series on learning how to learn about the spiritual side of learning? You know, what's involved in being a learner, who's a learner, what makes up learning, okay? All of these things are here. If you don't take notes, that initial information that you receive, that initial burst of knowledge is certainly going to disappear. If you want to light a candle, you have to put a match to it. If you light a match and you don't have a candle, you're not going to have light, not for too long. Okay? You need that initial spark. Well, the lecture that you're listening to, this conversation that you're listening to, is a spark of knowledge, but it goes absolutely to waste if you don't take notes. Well, the match is the knowledge, and the candle is you, your mind, your repetition, your notes. You need to apply that knowledge into that candle, and then there's going to be light for a while. And you can use that light to light other candles. It's amazing. What a concept, huh? It's tremendous. So make sure you organize and format your mind and your notes. Now that you have created this format inside your mind, you must focus now on the speaker, which takes us to the fourth point of effective note-taking, of effective learning to begin with, okay? And that is to concentrate on the speaker's ideas or the chapter's ideas. And based on that, you're going to start filling in that framework that you have created. Listen to main ideas. Completely and totally disregard the actual person who's doing the presenting. Focus only on the ideas. Why am I telling you to discard the speaker? We, as human beings, can have different opinions about people providing the information. You can have a person that you respect and revere, or a person who you dislike and you don't want to hear from. Now, the person that you happen to like and respect and revere may be giving you a lot of hooey, but you won't know that because of your reverence to the person. You will write that down and treat it as the truth, but in fact, it wasn't. You didn't focus on the ideas, you focused on the speaker. Now, conversely, when you take a person who you don't have much respect for and you don't like listening to, and yet they're saying the right things, but you disregard them because of your personal opinion about the speaker, reconsider this and focus only on what is being said. Not how it's being said, but what is being said. Focus on main ideas, whether it's a book, whether it's a lecture, that's it. Now, in today's day and age, it has become very simple for us to record lectures. Whether it's a video or audio, makes no difference. Anyone with a smartphone or an MP3 recorder, I don't even know if they're around anymore, probably are, but our phone, our personal handheld computer, can certainly be used to record any lecture. It is fantastic what we can do nowadays with our smartphones. That gives you the ability to listen to the lecture over and over and over again and to fix your notes. So it's an important tool. I'll give you a little bit of an interesting thing that I had done, which I wholeheartedly recommend that you do, especially when you're learning from a textbook. Read to yourself. Read out loud. Record what you're reading, and then listen to yourself reading again and again and again, and then take the notes from yourself. It was a very effective method of learning, but I'll talk about it another time. But in the meantime, this is just about listening to the speaker's ideas, main ideas. And remember, you have formatted your mind in such a way that you can now fill those little chambers, fill those little drawers, the file cabinet that you have created in your mind. You are now filling them with the ideas from the speaker. That's what is meant by listening to main ideas. That's what we do, and that's how we do it. Again, record it, review it, and write it down within the framework that you had created, first in your mind and then in your notes. Point number 5 was find vocabulary words. In my teaching practice, I have a policy of no word left behind. What does that mean? Yeah, I stole it. I know it was a no child left behind and so on and so forth. I prefer no word left behind. Words have meaning. Understanding the meaning of any word gives you power. Power to not just to memorize, which I wholeheartedly disapprove of. Memorization is the absolute worst form of learning. It's not learning, it's parroting. Understanding of the language is key. Every time you come across a word that you have even a shadow of a doubt whether you know it or not, make sure to look it up. Make sure you understand every meaning that word has. As we know, a word may have more than one meaning, and it does. Make sure you understand them all, especially in the context in which you are learning from. So make sure you understand. That's what it means. Now, understanding is a great idea. How do we do that? We find a dictionary. I still recommend the old-fashioned paper book-style dictionary. It's great to have that. Don't just go to Google or whatever search engine that you're using, type in the word, and voila, there you have it. Yeah, okay, it works, okay? But, internet, as you know, is a polluted space, and sometimes the meanings you get are incorrect. Plus, it takes a lot less effort to Google something than it does to look up in a dictionary. And this is one of those things where you actually work harder and smarter at the same time. Look things up in a dictionary. The effort, the physical labor of turning the pages, of finding the word, will lead you to learning other parts of language that you may have missed before. Reading the definition of a word in a dictionary may or will almost always lead you to find other words that you didn't understand in the description of the word. This pursuit, the actual physical digging in a book of looking up the right answer, putting your mind and putting your physical body into this act of learning, taking notes, is key. It's the combination of all of your resources that will not just have your mind remember, but your body too. As scientists and neuroscientists are beginning to find out that your brain is not the only thing that's doing the thinking in your body. It's your entire body. We remember things, we store things, our memory is stored in our cells, which is an incredible thing. Absolutely incredible thing. So when you use your body and not just your mind during passive listening, it's active. Look things up in a dictionary. Use your hands. Use your finger as you're trying to read stuff in a dictionary. That is key, is putting all of your resources together. It is an effort. It's a labor. So that is what is meant by vocabulary. That was point number 5. Point number 6 was use abbreviations when you're taking notes. And it's not just that. It's not just abbreviations. It's also to draw your pictures. In the same vein as we just discussed about the vocabulary words, in the same vein, you have to draw pictures that will stimulate a thought process in 2 ways. A, when you're taking notes and you're drawing a picture next to a subject matter that you're trying to memorize, you draw a picture that's somewhat pertinent to this. Like, for example, you're learning about the heart, and you draw a little picture of that Valentine's Day heart, which we all know what heart shape is, right? Everybody knows what that is. Heart doesn't look that way, but we draw the picture. You can just imagine what other little pictures you can draw. In today's society, we're all driven by pictures. We have emojis. Today, you can communicate by using emojis. They're like hieroglyphics of today, modern day hieroglyphics. So draw yourself an emoji with your own hands. Put an effort into drawing something small, something poignant to you. As you begin to review your notes and look at your pictures, that effort will be reconstituted in your mind. You will see that picture. You will see that emoji that you drew, that you created, and it'll provide that storage space within your mind, within your body, that will help you reconstitute and retrieve the information that you had recorded. That's what it means. Same is true for abbreviations. Everything is abbreviations. You all know LMAO, abbreviation, some of the other stuff. I'm not very big on those, but everybody uses them. That's exactly what you should do in your notes too. But that does not mean that you don't write out the actual sentence that you're trying to take notes from. And remember, we're taking clean, we're taking accurate notes. But on the same token, we have just drawn an emoji, and we have also created an abbreviation. It helps. You have to do it. You have to create it, and you will bring it up when the time comes. That is what is meant by using your abbreviations. Emojis, acronyms, anything that you want to use, you use. And that's how it works. 7, condense your notes. What does it mean to condense your notes? Well, simple word would be shrinking. But that's not what the word condense means. Condense means to consolidate, to bring something together, to take something big and shrink it, but keep all of the meanings in there. What that means is this: review and rewrite your notes, but now do that in a smaller and smaller format. When I went to school, I'll tell you a little secret. I wrote cheat sheets for myself. Yes, yours truly attempted to cheat in his classes. And I would take painstaking notes and try to fit them on a tiny scrap of paper so I could sneak it into the test and use it. Yeah, I didn't need glasses at the time. Now I do it. So these little notes, these microscopic notes that I drew would be completely and totally useless to me then. But you know what? Somehow, on these exams, I never had to use a cheat sheet. Why? Because I condensed my notes from an entire semester into, let's say, a 3x5 index card, not even. So I was able to take my entire semester's worth of class and put it on a 3x5 business card. Huh, that's an amazing thing. Think about that. I shrunk my notes, my knowledge, I made it compact, and I put it on a tiny little scrap of paper. And I took the great time and trouble. This is before I could use a computer to type things up. No, I had to do it by hand. By the time I came to class to take the test, I never needed my cheat sheet. Why? Because I spent all my time trying to figure out how to best condense all of the ideas and all of the knowledge, all of the formulas, depending on the class, onto that piece of paper. I actually memorized it. I didn't need it. Fast forward, the career guru is now teaching in college. Yes, career guru used to teach college. And I said to my students, I want you to make cheat sheets for the tests. Instead of you drawing notes on the inside of your thighs or in the back of your hand or whatever, please bring a cheat sheet. And you know what? I collected the cheat sheets. They had to put an entire semester's worth of work on a cheat sheet. I would grade them based on the cheat sheet that they submitted to me. If they could tell me what I wanted to hear on the final, if they could write down the information in a good way, I knew they wouldn't need it in the first place. But I wanted to see how their logic worked, so I collected the cheat sheets. Some people thought it was funny, and they wrote down all sorts of silly things. But no, to me, it was serious. It was actually more important to me than the final itself. With that in mind, this is what it means to condense your notes. I'm coming to the end of our topic today. And the last topic of our conversation was number 8. Topic number 8, use a note-taking system. Well, what does that mean? Well, there are multiple note-taking systems that exist that I would invite you to investigate. One is called the Cornell note-taking system, outline method or linear method, 3-column system, mind mapping. In reality, I gave you what I think you ought to be doing. You can investigate these systems on your own if you want to, though I would just suggest that you start doing things the way I had just described to you. These points that we just talked about are essential to taking notes. More importantly, to taking notes is to condensing your notes, to drawing the emojis, abbreviations, and everything else to make notes compact and clean. All of these points intertwined together will help you prepare for whatever exams that you will be taking. Not only that, but you will be able to reach into your notes, look at the dates, look at the subjects, and be able to reinstate all the knowledge that you had acquired before. Having the knowledge and understanding is key. That's what the notes are for, to make sure not to allow that original spark, initial spark of brilliance that emanated from your teacher. Yes, I'm being optimistic. Don't let it fly away. Catch it, put it in the notes, and make it comfortable. Make sure to organize and format your thoughts before you're able to do anything. And use the best way to write things down so you can actually read it. And with that, I will end today's session on learning how to learn and taking notes. Hopefully, by reviewing this conversation, by taking notes of this conversation, you'll be able to understand it and feel it and create that space in your mind where information and knowledge can reside forever and be intertwined with every fiber of your body, so you not only know it, but you feel it. And remember, nothing helps you learn more than teaching. I can honestly tell you that the only time that I truly learned a subject is when I started to teach. Once you take your notes, once you condense your notes, teach. Find a friend, find a relative who's willing to listen, sit them down, and teach them. After that, you will be a guru yourself. And that's why we're all here. And with that, I bid you farewell. Until next time, hashtag Let's Career Up. May God bless you all. I am your career guru. Write to me, email me. I'm here for you. All the best.
Well, friends and aspiring career gurus, this was fun. Thank you for tuning in. I feel enlightened, I feel empowered, and I'm feeling grateful that we spent time with you. For more information about Boston Career Institute, please visit our website, bostoncareer.org. Boston Career Institute has 3 campuses located in Brookline, Massachusetts, Malden, Massachusetts, and Lowell, Massachusetts. Call our toll-free number, 888-383-6058. For questions, comments, and or information about our podcast, email me at thecareerguru@bostoncareer.org. The Career Guru podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, bostoncareer.org, or wherever you stream your podcast. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your rating and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by PodPro Entertainment, The Career Guru lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. Hashtag The New Radio. Looking forward to seeing you soon. All the best to you. My name is Yanovsky. I am the Career Guru. May God bless you. Hashtag Let's Career Up.